etc., etc. These are exactly the same numbers that are being broadcast from the KIC star right at this moment. This is where it gets weird, because the Great Pyramid is obviously one of the greatest enigmas of the ancient world. Certain researchers, colleagues, have found within it certain key numbers that keep cropping up again and again. And those numbers are the exact numbers that are being broadcast by this star, KIC 8462852. Is this a coincidence? The Great Pyramid and its two neighbours are aligned to exactly the same constellation as where this star is, which is Cygnus.
Did the ancient Egyptians know about this broadcast to the Earth? Might the pyramids serve as receiving devices, just waiting to be activated? Could this signal actually be a message sent for humanity? Or is the mathematical connection no more than coincidence? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Thanks for watching The Fifth Kind. This video is in association with Gaia.com, creating thought-provoking documentaries and programs. To see more from the Gaia series Ancient Civilizations, and for unlimited access to thousands of educational works and documentaries, please click the links and receive your exclusive full access price for only 99 cents.
Yeah, Big Bird, Erangel, ਤੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਆ I'm a prime boy.
3 ਲੱਖ ਦਾ ਵੂਫਰ ਨੀ ਕੰਬਦੇ ਸ਼ੀਸ਼ੇ ਬੇਸਿਆ ਲਿਟਣੀ ਕੈਲੀ ਵਰਗੀ ਪਟਣੀਆਂ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਰ ਕੁੜੀ ਕੋਈ ਫਟਣੀ ਉਹ 24 ਇੰਚ ਟਾਇਰ ਕੁੜੇ 24 ਇੰਚ ਟਾਇਰ ਕੁੜੇ ਰੋਡ ਦੀ ਹਿੱਕ ਤੇ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਲੀਕਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲ ਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲ ਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ ਉਹ ਬਾਲਾ ਕੱਪਾ ਰੇਸਰਿਆ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਐਕਸਲਰੇਟਰ ਨੱਪੀ ਡਾਉਂਦਾ ਏ ਧੂੜਾ ਨੀ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਨਾਮ ਗੱਡੀ ਦਾ ਪੱਕੀ ਤੇਰੀ ਇੱਕ ਮੇਰੀ ਨੀ ਓਏ ਤੇਰੀ ਇੱਕ ਮੇਰੀ ਨੀ ਗੱਡੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਰ ਨਾ ਖਾਲੀ ਸੀਟਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲ ਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲ ਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਪੰਪ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਏ ਫੈਂਡੀ ਦੀ ਸ਼ੇਡ ਪੰਡੋਰਾ ਗੁੱਟ ਤੇ ਲੱਕ ਗੜਵੇ ਵਰਗਾ ਨੀ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਸਬਰ ਭੌਰ ਦੇ ਟੁੱਟਦੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਬੋਤਲ ਵਰਗੀ ਨੂੰ ਹੈ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਬੋਤਲ ਵਰਗੀ ਨੂੰ ਪੀ ਜਵਾਂ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਨੱਡੀਏ ਡੀਕਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲ ਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲ ਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ ਮੇਰੀ ਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਰੰਗ ਦਾ ਨੀ ਕੁੜੇ ਤੈਂ ਸੂਟ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਕਾਲਾ ਚੁੰਨੀ ਓਲੇ ਟੱਕ ਲੈਣੀ ਚੜਦਾ ਹੁਸਨ ਮਾਰਦਾ ਬਾਲਾ ਅਜੇ 18 ਟੱਪੀ ਨੂੰ ਓਏ ਅਜੇ 18 ਟੱਪੀ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਗਰਮ ਖਿਆਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਢਾਉਂਦਾ ਮਸਲਕਾਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਕਾਂ
Astronomers have looked at millions of stars in our galaxy, but they've never seen anything quite like this one. It's known as Tabby Star.
You have a star that's fading and a star that does regular, irregular dips in its light. Now, those two things don't normally go together.
This unique star captured the attention of the global news media.
Possibility of an extraterrestrial civilization.
Why haven't they made contact with us?
And the imaginations of millions.
You could have a complex system with multiple stars orbiting around this star.
Maybe there's some sort of strange cloud in the outer solar system.
I think maybe some people feel that we don't want it to be aliens. I would love it if it's aliens.
There is no explanation for what's going on with this star. It's bizarre. In fact, some have even suggested maybe alien technology is responsible. I'm headed off to Canberra to see if I can shed some light on the mystery. Aliens on the moon, you're telling me?
Aliens on the moon. It actually just turned out to be aliens in Los Angeles because it was radio stations from LA bouncing off the moon and coming back to Western Australia. So
Brad Tucker is Australia's leading expert on the Kepler Space Telescope. He uses it to look for supernovas, black holes. But he's curious as to what Kepler saw when it looked at the light from Tabby Star.
The citizen scientist found that it was weird, is that right?
the citizen scientist alerted, and is actually Tabby herself, who said, hey, this star is weird.
The star didn't get tagged as a exoplanet target, but it was tagged as, something that didn't really look like anything else.
It was originally known by its Kepler input catalog number, so KIC followed by some phone number that I can never remember. Tabby herself calls it the WTF star, but we just called it Tabby Star because she was the first one that showed it to us.
The data in 2009 is interesting because this is pretty much the first dip. When I say dip, I mean the stars dropped in brightness. Then in 2011, there was a very, very large event that dropped down by 15%. And then at the very end of the Kepler mission, things start to get really crazy, and we see many, many dips. This lasts for about 3 months at a time until the Kepler mission ends, and then there's nothing.
A dip in light occurs when a planet passes in front of its star. A transit of Jupiter, say, would make only a 1% drop in light. Tabby's first instinct was to think that the change in the light's flux was due to a data error from the Kepler Space Telescope.
Since then, however, a lot of people have checked, including the Kepler team at NASA, and everyone agrees that it really is the star getting dimmer, not some problem with the telescope. If there were alien civilizations that build massive structures around their stars, as some people have hypothesized, Kepler would discover them, and that they would look something like the dips that we saw around Tabby Star. Now, the problem with the hypothesis that this might be alien megastructures is it's very hard to test. We don't know what an alien megastructure would look like, so there's really nothing we can do to show that that's what it is or isn't. So it's what I call a hypothesis of last resort.
So this WTF star, what are the chances of being aliens, you think?
What are the chances of being aliens? Well, what are the chances of me eating all the food? I'm probably not going to manage it. I might try, but I won't manage it. But we have to consider everything on the table because it's that weird.
I mean,
It's feasible, very, very unlikely, but it's certainly feasible that it's alien technology, right? That fits the data.
If all of the options are weighed, it is a hypothesis that is not completely ruled out, just as lots of things are. But it's the one time you can probably say aliens aren't ruled out.
And what are some of the possible natural explanations?
There's always this simple example that you get orbiting planets, but there's multiple of them. Ah, you're taking care of my sausages. Yeah, I'll take care of the onion and tangerines, right? So if you imagine there's not just one planet orbiting around the star, but multiple of them, and perhaps they're actually orbiting around each other. And when they move around, you see various dips. So maybe there's a complex planetary system that is also creating what we're seeing.
What other possibilities are there?
Could be a bunch of comet fragments orbiting this star, but they also say that there should be a lot of infrared emission, but there's none.
Yeah, I mean,
no
that's extraordinary in itself, though, isn't
it?
Right.
When citizen astronomers originally discovered Tabby's star, it really looked like there must be something very close to the star blocking the light. All of the measurements that we've taken of the star, including with the Spitzer Space Telescope, have revealed that there isn't any extra infrared radiation coming from the star. So that means there can't be anything very close to the star blocking the light. So we started to look for some more outlandish possibilities, something between us and Tabby's star, not going around Tabby's star, not very close to it, but in the interstellar medium, which is the gas and dust pervasive among the stars in the galaxy. Perhaps there is some rare phenomenon where these dense clouds can form and pass between us and the star temporarily.
Good.
That's right. I think the alien megastructure might be calling us for lunch.
Brad has looked at the Kepler data in a different way, and he still thinks that a data glitch might be the explanation. So Kepler's pretty simple, really, in the way it looks for planets around other stars, isn't it?
That's right. It's very simple, but I think the most surprising thing is it doesn't produce pretty pictures, right? We're used to things like Hubble getting those nice detailed pictures. That is not at all what Kepler does. It just does simple measurements of the brightness.
Could the WTF star be explained by kind of a glitch in that data?
Well, yeah. I mean, if we actually look at it, it's very unimpressive. I mean, that's what it looks like. Mm. This is the actual data. Mm-hmm. We are saying that this could be an alien megastructure. Some of these variations that we realized, we only realized because we're looking at big galaxies. And so when you're looking at big galaxies, you can see how that galaxy is affected as a whole because they're
spread over
they're
many
spread
pixels.
over multiple pixels.
Where is Tabby's star in that? Is it just on 1 pixel?
It's on 1 pixel. Tabby's star is on 1 pixel. Let's say if the star happens to slightly vary on 2, then that can create some artificial measurements. This is why you get evidence outside of Kepler that is not affected by these, because that will help us too.
I think it's fair to say that all the hypotheses, they're all pretty contrived. We just need more data to explain anything that's going on.
It is the best target we have for efforts to search for signals from extraterrestrial intelligence. So while we're busy ruling out these natural hypotheses, we're also going to point radio telescopes at Tabby's star just in case.
Jason and Tabby will point the Green Bank telescope at the WTF star in a couple of weeks' time to see if there are any strange signals that might be evidence of extraterrestrials. Maybe Tabby's star's not that weird. What would our own sun look like if we could step outside the solar system? What if there were inhabitants around Proxima Centauri? They had their own Kepler Space Telescope. What would they see pointing it at our sun?
It's fair to think about what we'd look like to put it in context, and we would be a WTF object. We would be really weird.
I guess so. I guess our sunlight would dip in a very weird, irregular way.
Exactly. We would be a weirdo. We have 8 planets, all orbiting at different speeds, dwarf planets, moons, and so you would think Mercury would be a small eclipse, plus Venus, sometimes plus Earth, and then you get Jupiter, which is a big one, Saturn, which is a big one. We would not make sense to the inhabitants of Proxima Centauri.
Inside this hangar, a team of scientists is hard at work trying to reverse engineer a UFO. Witnesses reported a massive craft capable of unearthly performance. But what could explain these capabilities? The investigators have already ruled out rockets and rotors as propulsion for the craft reported by Tim Lee. At 8:13, just minutes before Tim Lee's sighting, Prescott, Arizona resident Ann Baker reported a huge chevron-shaped craft with 5 lights moving slowly and silently toward Phoenix from the north. Initially, her description sounds similar to the others, but Baker reported that the craft did something beyond imagination. After slowly drifting by, the bright lights changed color, and the craft accelerated at blinding speeds and shot off towards Phoenix. Physicist Pavlos Michaelides investigates. He applies breakthrough physics to the question of how this craft could fly. The scientist is forced to think outside the box.
Okay, we have basically eliminated all the technologies that are available to us today, so now we have to actually start to expand our thinking to perhaps more advanced concepts.
These concepts are so advanced that they still haven't made it from the drawing board to the launch pad. One is electromagnetic propulsion. This advanced system would be powerful enough to make the huge craft fly. Unlike traditional rockets that use vast amounts of fuel for liftoff, electromagnetism could provide ample power to spacecraft without the need for propellants. To create such an energy source, electromagnets are supercooled to extremely low temperatures, and then electricity is applied to them. At these temperatures, electromagnets demonstrate an unusual behavior. For the first few nanoseconds after electricity is applied, they vibrate. In fact, the magnets vibrate so rapidly, as fast as 400,000 times per second, that they create vast amounts of energy, more than any chemical fuel. If engineers could provide enough power to get it going, then this vibration could provide enough of a jolt to send a craft farther and faster into space than any propulsion system known to man. And it would be silent. Electromagnetic power fits many of the criteria for the craft eyewitnesses described.
The hovering could be performed, the 90-degree turns could be performed, the very high speeds could be performed. As long as you can provide electrical power within reasonable power supply systems, as far as the weight is concerned, all these things could be done.
Electric will do it silently, but we don't have the power to accelerate enough mass. See, that's the key.
That's the key. Power. Electromagnetism could work, but it requires far more power than scientists can currently generate.
Lund University, Sweden, August 27th, 2013. Researchers confirm the existence of a new element on the periodic table created through nuclear fusion. They name it Unpentium, or element 115. Although most scientists still don't know much about this unique radioactive component, it shares commonalities with plutonium, used in experimental rocket fuels.
Element 115 has its own lore in UFO history. So this was said to be an element described by a gentleman named Bob Lazar, who claimed to have worked just south of Area 51 on an ET flying saucer.
The government is holding 9 alien spacecraft that are propelled by a modified gravity generator. Work is being conducted 50 miles out from Lake at that isolated area only, designated as S4, that at least one of those crafts operate.
According to what Lazar said, these alien craft ran on element 115. And there's no evidence that we have this even occurring naturally anywhere on Earth. Well, it turns out that scientists now claim to have created element 115 by atomic collisions.
I think this recent discovery of ununpentium really does help us understand the significance of Bob Lazar's testimony. This was a man who was exposed to a very rare element that was allegedly part of the propulsion system of an extraterrestrial vehicle.
On December 23rd, 2015, yet another groundbreaking material makes headlines. Scientists working at the University of California announced the creation of a new metal that is strong and lightweight, but also flexible.